Most of the time, Linda and I visit local cemeteries. We travel to places where the dead are memorialized, and we listen for the stories that are waiting to be unearthed and told. This month, I had the chance to visit a place where death is not so much a resting place, but a process of liberation. So much so that it permeates the spiritual embodiment of life and the traditions of India. My birthday has a lot of its own ghosts haunting the season. It's not the easiest of times for me, honestly. I don't think it's a coincidence either that I was born on the Day of the Dead, a date cross-culturally celebrated as a time when the veil between worlds is considered to be at its thinnest, the ideal time to pay one's respects to those past and their relationship to the living. It's a tradition we have long lost in the West, contracting out death care from the home to undertakers, and spirituality embracing more of a protection of life than the celebration of its cycles, its never-ending dance with death. This November 2nd, I found myself in Varanasi along the banks of the Ghat in India's most holiest of cities. Now, I don't know much about Hinduism, so I won't proclaim to be an expert. Rather, these are the impressions that I was left with. And what I share is mostly curiosity and the desire to know more. I witnessed the celebration of Diwali, which is the festival of light, and the ritual of Arti, where fire meets water in a ceremony for purification and oneness. It makes sense to me that this is also the place where people bring their dead to be cremated, using fire to release the soul and free it from reincarnation. As we traveled along the riverbank, we stopped briefly to observe Manikarnika Ghat, one of the oldest and most important cremation grounds in Hinduism. My guide explains that Doms are the death care workers that handle cremations. They are among India's lowest caste, but work alongside priests to perform one of Hinduism's most sacred of ceremonies, liberating the soul. The process brings in all four elements: water, fire, earth, and air, and then Nirvana. The body is washed in the river and then anointed with ghee and sandalwood. Then the king of the dome, which I believe is the priest, calls in the element of fire. This invitation is vital, as one is not able to start his own fire. And in Hinduism, my guide says, they don't know if this is their last life, but they hope it is, and we have to treat it as such. And so this process is meant to return the soul to unity.
One step I forgot to explain: just before the burn, what they do. They do put oil on the body and they putting in the water. Water will release the water of the body. That believe that water, the first element of body, is going to separate from the body. The second, when the body is burning in the fire of the body is going to separate, and it can be a part of internal body which never stops, separated. Third, during the burn, body makes air, comes out of the body. So the third body element is air, it's getting separated. After the burn, ash comes to earth, fourth separated. In this situation of the burning at cremation, four dead body elements, four separated, one is only remain, which is soul goes to sky. And this is the meaning of Nirvana for Hindu people, if these five elements should be get separated. And Kashi is the best place to do. Varanasi, holy city, is the best place for Hindu people to do.
After our boat ride along the Ghat, I visited Sarnath, the birthplace of Buddhism. While gazing upon a stupa, I was hit with a sudden realization. Stupa in Sanskrit means heap, which is a structure considered to hold the energy and ashes of Buddha. It is also a representation of the universe and one's own subtle body. What I was looking at was the process of how death feeds life and how integral this process is to our own humanity, how important it is in how we live and how we die. So as I listened to what was speaking to my soul, two things seemed to speak to me the loudest: the search for liberation and how important death is to the process of living. So much so that we are considered to embody the home of the Buddha within, a living, breathing stupa, connecting our lives to those of the past and to the infinite. It is our journey, and it reminded me of my own spirituality, where it is said before a man can live, he must die first. And I wonder why we lost this wisdom in our daily lives. I don't know the answer to this, but I am grateful that my journey led me here, back to a place within my own being, and the precious lesson nature's cycle of life and death teaches us about the significance of our own humanity. From Varanasi to Delaware, this is Cynthia and Linda for the Cemetery Chronicles.